presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
Emotions were high on both sides. But after 19 innings, the Indians set a new franchise record with their 14th straight win. And what a trek it was. Trevor Bauer was supposed to start today, but he went 5 high-pressure innings to earn his 7th win of the season. The Blue Jays trotted out 2 different position players to the mound, and it was Carlos Santana who took advantage in his 9th at-bat of the game with more late-inning magic. Raw emotion came out when it was all over, and now the Tribe will try to ride this historic wave of momentum to a 15th straight win. Next on Sports Time Ohio. From beneath the soaring CN Tower, it's the Rogers Center in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, where today the Cleveland Indians look to continue their historic win streak in Game 2 of a 3-game series against the Toronto Blue Jays. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Banning. Yesterday, the Indians ran their win streak to a franchise record 14th consecutive victory, and during this win streak, the starting pitchers have accounted for 75% of the innings pitched. However, the bullpen was counted on yesterday, and they stood up big time.
Well, it's all about the pitching, and you're right, a Herculean effort from the bullpen. 13 shutout innings, and everyone was a part of it. They went out there, they were pushed to the limit, really the first time they've been pushed in this 14 games, and it comes down to Trevor Bauer, who was supposed to start today's ball game, ends up pitching 5 innings, and it was a game filled with emotion, and I mean, it was really something special for this ball club to keep that string going. Each and every one of them were a part of it. You can see the 14 game, it ties the Atlanta Braves back to 2013, and they're going to try to continue to climb that ladder this afternoon.
It's the longest win streak in the American League since the Oakland A's won 20 in a row back in 2002. Now, as Rick said, Trevor Bauer was supposed to start today. The Indians looked down in the minor leagues. They scrambled. Sean Morimondo got called up. He'll be in the bullpen today, but this is truly going to be a bullpen by committee ball game. What do we look for?
Well, you really don't look for much. You go out there and you hope they can go out and go as long as they can. McAllister's going to get the start for the Indians, and we'll see what happens after that. Really, you don't know what to expect from the Indian side of it. And Marco Estrada for the Jays, I'll tell you what, he's been very, very good. 12 straight starts of 6 innings, and he's given up less than 5 hits. So he's been tough.
Yesterday was Canada's holiday, but another sellout crowd expected this afternoon. Indians-Jays Part 2. And we'll be back with the play-by-play. Plus, we'll check in with Andre Nadu as more on Lonnie Chisenhall's 5-hit performance yesterday. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by WB Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by your local Toyota dealers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Indians will take the lead as Santana scores, and he got the heave-ho from Carapazza. A man can only take so much. Back is Pilar, and it's gone. Carlos Santana puts the Indians on top here in the 19th inning. And the Cleveland Indians of 2016 have set the franchise record with their 14th consecutive win. And oh, baby, did they earn it, going 19 innings north of the border. Wow, what a day it was yesterday, and we welcome you in. Today's broadcast of the Indians and Blue Jays is being broadcast on the Armed Forces Network, broadcasting to the United States Armed Forces serving around the world on land and on ships at sea. Welcome in as the red-hot Cleveland Indians go for their 15th win in a row. And the Toronto Blue Jays just looking for a win, period, after the Indians have come in and stolen their thunder on this holiday weekend. Marco Estrada on the hill for Toronto as he makes his warm-up tosses. We'll go downstairs to Andre Knott and get some idea who's left standing in that Indians bullpen.
Well, Brian Shaw is unavailable today. Everyone else is available, and you may see them. Lost in the shuffle of the 19-inning win yesterday is Lonnie Chisenhall's 5-hit game. It's his second 5-hit game versus the Toronto Blue Jays. And on this road trip, and you guys know you need this when you get out on a road trip like this, Lonnie Chisenhall is hitting .453 so far on this trip after those 5 hits yesterday. Hopefully these guys can hit the way they're throwing these seeds at me today. Yeah. Let's have fun today.
Well, I think they are having fun. Obviously, this is a team that is not caught up in the win streak, but they're certainly having fun riding the wave. Marco Estrada, here's the lineup he'll face for Terry Francona's club today. Brought to you by Progressive. Rajai Davis will lead it off. Then it's Jason Kipnis. Jose Ramirez in for Francisco Lindor, who gets a day off. He'll bat third. Mike Napoli in the cleanup spot. Then it's Carlos Santana, whose home run yesterday was the 100th of the season for the Indians. Lonnie Chisenhall batting sixth. Then it's Juan Uribe, Tyler Naquin, and Chris Jimenez.
And today's Northern Ohio Hyundai starting pitcher is going to be Marco Estrada. This guy does not like to give up base hits. Only 59 hits in 99 and a third innings on the year. He has 92 strikeouts. He's a changeup master. He throws it about 27% of the time. It's an excellent one, and he'll ride that high fastball. He has made one start against the Indians. It was a no decision in a 5-3 Toronto victory. That coming last September.
We are underway on a beautiful day here in Toronto. Game time temperature is 76 degrees. Just a few clouds in and out. Nice to have the roof open after it was closed yesterday due to the fact that it rained much of the afternoon. The 1-1. Davis went around, and he falls behind a ball and 2 strikes.
So we've seen 3 different pitches on the first 3 pitches from Estrada.
That's in the dirt. 2-2. Rajai Davis 2 for 10 in the series. He had a home run in the series opener off the knuckleballer R.A. Dickey. Fastball low and away, and a full count. Jason Kipnis waiting on deck. And that fastball is clobbered to deep left field, and it is gone off the facing of the second deck. Oh, Rajai Davis stays red hot. His second home run of the series, and the Indians once again will play from in front. And this is a team that has thrived when scoring first on the season. The Indians are 37-7 when they score first.
Now 3-2 fastball. He was not going to walk him. He threw it right down the middle. Davis takes advantage of it. The 4th leadoff home run now for the Indians this year. Santana owns the other 3, and Davis gets it started on the right foot today. That's number 9 for Rajai.
Light laser shot,
Yeah,
too.
it was his 13th home run given up by Estrada. Well, he challenged him. He wasn't going to walk him, and he got burned.
That pitch outside. Jason Kipnis has gone 3 for 10 on the series with a home run.
Watch the location of it. Right down Broadway, and it left in a hurry.
Kipnis taking, and it's 3-1. The only other time Rajai Davis has let off a game with a home run came when he was wearing a Blue Jays uniform. Pulls it foul, and a full count.
Bring a ball down on the foot of Kip. And the feet might be a little sore today for a few of these players on both sides after playing 19 innings yesterday.
And the payoff pitch. Got him with a changeup.
Let's check the Jays defense behind Estrada. It looks like this. It'll be Saunders in left field, Pilar in center, Carrera over in right. It's Barney that gets the start at third today. Tulowitzki at short, Travis is at second, Encarnacion is at first, Martin behind the plate.
Jose Ramirez takes a strike. He's 4 for 12 in the series with a double. We said yesterday that a 19-inning game, especially one played on artificial turf, will have an impact down the road on both of these clubs. But in the short term, the Indians, even after some of the players might have been exhausted, look at the smiles, look at the laughter. When you win that game, it buoys you a little bit. When you lose it, it's like somebody hit you over the head with a hammer.
Well, I mean, it was really a good ball game, and it's 3 times that these two teams have played 16 or more innings, and that's the longest one, the 19 innings. But if you win it, you feel a lot better about yourself, and you come together, I think, a little bit more as a team. But today, they have a starter going for them, and the Indians have a bullpen game. But they ended up playing for it. They wanted to win that day, which I totally agree with. And, you know, they set a franchise record for a win streak, which is tremendous.
Down low, full count. Josh Tomlin said it best after the game yesterday. We'll worry about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right now, everybody pulled together. He said if we didn't have a Trevor Bauer willing to go out and do what he did yesterday, then that doesn't happen. But you have a guy who's saying, you know what, I'll go out. And after the game, Bauer, I was told that Bauer was campaigning to be able to come out and pitch today. That's how, I mean, you got to love that kind of attitude and that kind of, hey, I want it for the team.
Well, I'll tell you what, he earned a lot of respect from his teammates yesterday with the 5 innings that he went out and pitched with everything on the line.
Mike Napoli taking a first pitch strike from Estrada. Yes, he did. And as we said, when you're in an extra inning situation on the road,
yeah,
each pitch could be the ball game. Mike Napoli has gone 2 for 13 with a double. And Estrada delivers in the dirt, 2-1. At the knees, outside corner, perfect location. And a foul right back.
Boy, you really have to stay back on Estrada, because here's a guy that can go his fastball anywhere from 83 to 89. And then his off-speed pitch, he's got a little slider, a curveball, a changeup, which is down in the 70s. And he throws that 27% of the time, I told you.
Struck him out. So Estrada gives up a leadoff homer and then strikes him out 1, 2, 3. But Rajay's rocket has the Indians on top, 1-0. The Blue Jays are coming to bat.
Man, I don't even know what inning it was. Been out here for a long time and sitting on the bench, thinking you're going to pitch tomorrow. You kind of check out mentally sometimes, but able to lock it in, thankfully. And man, that homer by Santana was huge. I'm happy. We played 29 innings or whatever it was tonight, and came out on top.
You gonna start tomorrow?
I hope so.
There's no way they can. You know how many pitches you threw?
Start me, I don't care.
You have to love that attitude, that mentality, but the Indians put his health in front of perhaps need here today. So Zach McAllister will start it for Cleveland, and he hits the first guy to start the ball game.
Wow, first pitch of the game. He pulls it, and it gets him right in the calf. Or right in the thigh, I should say. So Herrera going to take first base.
There, the rest of the Blue Jays starting lineup looks like this. Devon Travis, Josh Donaldson. Edwin Encarnacion only had one at bat yesterday before his ejection. Michael Saunders, Russell Martin, Tulowitzki, Pilar, and Barney. In the dirt. So the first two pitches have come nowhere near the strike zone. Devon Travis 2 for 11 in the series. And a fastball strike over the outside corner.
There you go. Find the zone.
What the Indians pitching has been able to do during this win streak has been phenomenal. But what they've been able to do in particular against the Blue Jays has been amazing and should validate everything that they've done during the win streak. They've held one of the best offenses and one of the highest scoring teams in the league to 2 runs in 28 innings.
Yeah. It's been impressive.
And the 2 runs are 2 solo dingers. The 3-1. Strike call and a full count. DJ Rayburn behind the plate this afternoon. Vic Carapazza has no friends here in Toronto. He was booed by the crowd. He was verbally abused by many of the Blue Jays players yesterday. Runner goes on a 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. And no throw by Jimenez.
Yeah, he caught the ball, but in the transfer, he couldn't get it out of the glove. So, give him a stolen base, but he gets a strikeout. There it is, right into the glove, and in the transfer, it almost like he's upset he couldn't get rid of it. But we'll look at our Honda starting pitcher and Zach McAllister. As we said, it's going to be a bullpen game today on the year. This will be his 29th appearance, and really nobody knows how long anybody is going to go in this ball game. The key would be throwing strikes.
Josh Donaldson swings and fouls it back. And I think he got nailed on the swing by Donaldson.
Well, the ball
was the ball.
right in the mask.
I thought it was the bat. It was the ball.
He was all over the place yesterday, picking balls out in the dirt.
Yeah, too bad they didn't have flexible scheduling. I think both teams would have agreed to say, hey, let's move this game back today to 7 o'clock. Give everybody a few more hours in bed. Swung on and missed. And the count 0-2 on Josh Donaldson, who's 1 for 10 in the series. His one hit was a home run in the opener. And it was a rocket shot to straightaway center field into what they call the WestJet flight deck. Fouled right back. It's another big crowd on hand here at the Rogers Center. It appears that it might not be a sellout. There are some scattered empty seats, but I mean, they're sitting from the front row all the way to the top row here this afternoon.
And the roof open, and the rooms in the hotel are packed.
Oh, yeah.
Looking on.
The 2-strike pitch in the dirt. Without a doubt, that has to be one of the most unique features of the Rogers Center, in that it has a hotel built into the ballpark. And over the years, some of those hotel rooms have gained infamy for some of their exploits that have been visible to the paying customers
see
here.
The people, just look at the kids sitting up they have the chairs pulled up. What a way to watch a ball game out of your hotel room. Beautiful thing.
And McAllister with a 1-2 way outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, again, McAllister hasn't thrown an off-speed pitch for a strike. It's basically been fastballs. Had a chance with 2 strikes, and here comes Jimenez. He's at his blocking it again. He had a good workout yesterday doing that.
The 2-2. Just missed outside, and he's running full. The payoff pitch. Outside with a fastball.
Yeah, from 0-2 to a walk right there from McAllister.
So he's hit a batter, walked a batter. And with 1 out, Edwin Encarnacion will be the batter.
Check that Indians defense, brought to you by Jeep. Davis, Naquin, and Chisenhall in the outfield. And Uribe, Ramirez, Kipnis, Santana on the infield. Jimenez doing the catching.
And there's a look at the umpires. Rayburn has to play. Hirschbeck, the crew chief, is at first base. Bill Welke at second, and Vic Carapazza down at third. And Edwin Encarnacion takes ball 1.
Now right now McAllister all over the place. 9 balls out of his first 15 pitches.
There's a strike call. One and one to count. That's hammered. Deep left center. And gone. The Blue Jays take a 3-1 lead.
Well, the league leader in RBIs continue. That's a 3-pointer right there. And you're going to see nothing but fastballs here in this sequence. Encarnacion, he walked Donaldson after he had him down 0-2. There's a 1-pitch fastball. There's the third one, left it in the same spot. And he drilled it to left center field. It gets out of here. So Encarnacion gets his 22nd homer and now has 73 RBIs on the year.
And 4 batters into the game, the Indians bullpen already has to get busy. Sean Morimondo is the guy the Indians called up today, but they decided they didn't want to just throw him out there and start him. They were going to try to maybe get McAllister through the first inning or 2 and then see how long maybe Morimondo could go and piece it together from there. But well, the way it started out, not good right now. And they've got double barrel action. Morimondo, a left-hander, and I think it's Jeff Manship from the right side getting loose as well. But it's already 3-1 now in favor of Toronto, and Michael Saunders to the plate. This guy has just been dreadful. Saunders in the series. Is 0 for 11 with 8 strikeouts. Two and 0. I mean, if you're looking for logics, I guess it makes sense that you would start McAllister or give him the opportunity to start this game since he was just a starting pitcher a year ago.
Well, and you see why he's not a starting pitcher now, because he's not throwing strikes. He doesn't have any secondary pitches to throw in this situation. He's tried a couple of change-ups and breaking balls, but nothing's in the strike zone.
Fouled back, full count. And the payoff pitch is ball 4. So he's walked 2, hit a batter, giving up a home run. And with 1 out, Russell Martin to the plate. Keys to the game brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Jump on them early. They did, thanks to Rajay Davis's leadoff homer. But the Blue Jays have roared right back. And Russell Martin taking a strike. Russell Martin was ejected yesterday along with Edwin Encarnacion and the manager John Gibbons.
It took him a while to get run yesterday. Although it's amazing he lasted as long as he did and got away with as much as he said.
Pop back out of play.
It had to be a long day for that guy yesterday. Vic Carapazza, who's at third base today.
And you know what? You can be critical of his strike zone. It's easy. We've been critical of umpire strike zones in the past. But I mean, my goodness, at some point you have to show some decorum, some professionalism.
Well, you didn't look at it was the same way for the Indians, and you didn't see a lot of the complaining there.
Russell Martin punched out 2 down. That'll bring up Troy Tulowitzki. And the Blue Jays shortstop set out the opening game of the series. Yesterday was 3 for 6 with a double, and was his usual spectacular self defensively at shortstop.
I'll tell you one thing, Jimenez is back there making him work and making him use his pitches. A couple of breaking balls, he's going to force him to try and slow down, take something off the pitches, and not be a one-pitch pitcher. Now it's just a matter of McAllister trying to get into that zone with him.
Pulls it foul. It's already a 30-pitch inning for Zach. 15 strikes, 14 balls. And number 30 is outside, 2-2. Tyler Naquin in center field will make the catch. The inning is over, but Edwin Encarnacion crushes the ball to left, giving Toronto a 3-1 lead after an inning. in Toronto. Indians haven't been behind very often during a 14-game win streak, but they're down 3-1 here. And Carlos Santana will lead off. Santana's home run in the 19th inning yesterday was the 100th on the season for the Indians.
Carlos took over the team lead as well with his 17th home run this year to this point.
Last year the Indians did not get to 100 home runs until game 123. This year doing it in 79 contests. There's a ball ripped into center field. And so Santana aboard with a leadoff single.
Carlos got the fastball and hit a nice line drive. He'll take a look at the pitch. Of course, it's off a position player, but it doesn't matter. Off the facing, back into play. And boy, everybody in that dugout was thrilled to death at that point in time.
Now here's Lonnie Chisenhall, the hit machine. And he bunts one foul up the third base side. Chisenhall's hit in 5 straight, and on the road trip 15 for 33 with 9 runs batted in. Quickly 0-2 the count. When you watch Estrada, is he a guy you want to try to be patient with because of the way he paints?
Yeah, you have to be patient because he throws, slower, and there's no rhyme or reason. He'll try and sneak that little fastball by you, like right there, show it to you. It's 84, 85. So you just have to, I would think, maybe look more off speed than anything else and just try and fight his fastball off. Because the more aggressive you're going to get, I think you're feeding right into his hand.
Now Chisenhall down on strikes. Every batter retired so far is on a swinging pitch. Kia in the driver's seat. Marco Estrada, 12 straight starts, 6 innings pitched and 5 hits or less allowed. So he's been very good at getting himself deep into a ball game, or deep enough, and keeping the other guy off the board.
Well, and that's just it. He doesn't give up many hits. I told you coming into the game now, he was giving up 59 hits in 99 and a third innings. So he's given up 61 in over 100 innings, 102 thirds.
That hit the bat actually.
Yes,
somehow.
it did.
Uribe can't believe it.
He's the toughest guy in this league to try and get a hit off of. 168 opponent's batting average, and even when Juan's taken, that barrel head of the bat wants to get out in front, doesn't it?
Smashed, and it is picked, and a double play. Middle of the second, 3-1 Toronto. call to the bullpen has been made for Jeff Manship. Zach McAllister went 1 inning, gave up 3 runs on 1 hit, walked 2, hit a batter. A 3-run homer, the killer there. Jeff Manship, 26th appearance of the year. As the Indians will try to piece this thing together. Sean Morimondo will more than likely be the next pitcher in the game. He's warming up in the bullpen. Morimondo is a left-hander. Kevin Pillar, Darwin Barney, and then the top of the order, Ezekiel Carrera, here in the second for Toronto. 2-0. The Indians began play today with a 7-game lead in the Central Division. Checked, he did not go. Kansas City lost to Philadelphia yesterday. And the Detroit Tigers surging a bit. They've won 4 in a row. And they've closed to within a half game of Kansas City. Chicago at the 500 mark, 9.5 games back as we start play today. And Kevin Pillar draws a leadoff walk. Let's go down to Andre Nunn.
Well, it's been a crazy 24 hours for Sean Morimondo, who's here with the Indians. The lefty will come out of the pen at some point in time. Basically, the setup was this, guys. Terry Francona wants him to come into a clean inning, so it won't be this inning. It could be next inning. It could be the 4th inning. He's a guy that's a fastball, changeup, slider, curveball pitcher. He's going to rely on his changeup. He was in Pawtucket yesterday watching the game that we had on TV. He says he didn't realize anything was kind of goofy until he saw Bauer getting warmed up. He still didn't think he'd be the guy because he was going to get into AAA to do a spot start, and he was going back to Akron. So he didn't find out. Flew here this morning after having to go back to Cleveland, pick up his passport. To say the least, he's excited to get in the game, but he didn't think he'd be here even 12 hours ago, to be completely honest. But that's the setup. He will get in the game at some point in time, and they're going to let him go as far as he can. He's pitched really well, though, in Akron so far this season.
Watching the game on television yesterday back in the U.S., and he's here today warming up, and he's going to get some pitching time here.
Yeah, and people don't realize that just because you're a Major League Baseball player, you don't just get to go into Canada. He had to get his passport, which you don't regularly travel if you know you're going to be in the U.S. You don't regularly have it on your person necessarily. So he's in Pawtucket. They got to get his passport, which is in Akron. So it was
he's flying out of Cleveland, so he had to go. Yeah, it's. They never said it was easy.
No.
And that's just another a story he'll be able to tell. When he gets older and tell his kids and grandkids
about his Major League debut.
Absolutely, what it took for him to get there. It's not always roses and smelling good.
Well, he's ready to get into the ball game, but right now it's Jeff Manship who walks the leadoff man, and now Darwin Barney. And he takes the ball, 2-1. That'll even the count at 2-2. Barney really is a guy who is selfless, obviously, because yesterday in the ballgame, Ryan Goins was the last man on the Blue Jays bench. They put him in the bullpen and actually used him out of the bullpen, but he hurt his arm pitching and had to go on the DL after the game last night. So he only gave him 1 inning, and it was Barney who came in to pitch in the ill-fated 19th inning for Toronto and gave up the home run. So let's take a look at the injury report brought to you by the lawyers at Elk & Elk. Goins' right forearm injury, and he just felt it cramp up. He got one up to 90 miles an hour yesterday.
And he was throwing curveballs and little sinkers, and you know what? You're not a pitcher. And that didn't last long. Everybody thought it was great, and he was throwing good stuff, but guess what? He's on the DL now.
Well, and Sean Doolittle, his name has been bandied about the rumor mill, potentially available for a team looking to add an arm to the bullpen, but that makes things a little more complicated. With less than a month to go now until the trading deadline. 1 on 1 out top of the order, Ezekiel Carrera. In the air, foul ground, long run for Rajai Davis, though, into foul territory, makes the catch. Nice play by Rajai, and there are 2 down. This was the last pitch that Goins threw, and he got himself an inning-ending double play. But that didn't have nearly the velocity that he had earlier in that inning. It's just crazy, you know. You think you've been throwing a baseball your whole life, and how much more difficult can it be than you're up there on that mound? But it happens all the time.
Well, we talked about it yesterday. Usually when you see a position player come in, it's in a blowout situation. It's not with the game on the line like yesterday's was, a 1-1 game. Do you see 2 pitchers pitch in the same game, 2 position players, I should say? Yeah, you understand the blowout because you're trying to save your bullpen, but they were out of players, period.
He went around, did Devon Travis, and it's 0-2. But the only guy I've seen that's come in and really done a good job and hasn't hurt himself might have been our man, Andy Marte.
Oh, man. Giant swirl. Yeah.
Wasn't that against the Yankees? He got Swisher. He struck out Swisher as one of the guys he got. The 1-2, runner goes, swinging a ground ball to third. Uribe with a slick backhand and a perfect throw ends the inning. We play 2 in Toronto. It's the Blue Jays 3, the Indians 1. Toronto leads it, 3rd inning. And for the Indians, Tyler Naquin, Chris Jimenez, and Rajai Davis due up. Naquin 2 for 11 with a triple in the series. Takes its low and away, ball 1. Outside, 2-0. Out of play.
Estrada ranks second in the American League with a 2.12 ERA at home here at Rogers Center.
And he pulls it in the hole, a base hit. Nice job by Tyler Naquin, who runs hard around first and forces Carrera to get over there.
Well, Naquin kept his hands back, and he's a good low ball hitter, but he kept it back enough on that off-speed pitch where he was able to pull it. And another pitch down. That kid can hit pitches down in the strike zone or out of the strike zone better than many people I have seen. And he knows that he is a low ball hitter, and he has to focus down in the zone. Well, he picked that one up off the ground for a base hit.
Now Chris Jimenez, who shows bunt and takes low, ball one. Runner goes, and Jimenez fouls it back.
Played a little hit and run action right there. Fake bunt the first pitch. They started the runner, and that was a tough pitch to handle, so he did a good job of just fouling it off. It was down, away. I don't even think it was a strike, and you can tell it's a hit and run because Naquin took 2 steps and looked in at the ball. That ball was about 6 inches to a foot off the plate. So a good job to foul it off by Chris.
And he fouls that one right back. In the hole, 1-2. Just a bit outside, and that's why Estrada is so good, because when he misses on purpose, and it's just a tantalizing ball or two off the plate.
That's a pitch you go out there and you end up rolling over on because it was a good changeup off the plate.
Strikes him out. That's number 5 for Estrada. First time through the order. He fans 5 of the 9 hitters. Well, it was just announced Danny Salazar is your American League Pitcher of the Month for June. Tyler Naquin is the Rookie of the Month.
Well,
in
congratulations,
June.
boys. Both of them very good month.
And it wasn't an easy call because I'm trying to think. Trevor Bauer had a good month of June. Carrasco, I mean, all the Indian starters, I think, were probably.
I think Danny was blessed a little bit more because the offense was in his favor.
Yeah, got more
you know
W's.
what I'm saying? They pitched. They all pitched about the same, as good as they did. It seems like Danny had a little more run support throughout the month of June. He was pitching on the right day, but he did have a 5-0 and 5 starts. Wonderful.
The American League Player of the Month was Jose Altuve. I voted for Edwin Encarnacion only because he came one run shy of joining Maris, Mantle, and Carew as the only players to drive in 30 and score 30 in the month of June.
Well, it's a tough selection when you look all over baseball. You know, not an easy.
Yeah. Oh, and Altuve had a perfectly great month. He deserved it. But
I'll tell you what.
You could have gone either way there.
Houston's turned it around. They're 6 games over the 500 mark now, after getting off to their dreadful start this year, the first 2 months.
And I know nobody wants to talk about this other than those of us who watch the game from these lofty perches, but Houston is the wild card team right now in the American League. And there are currently 8 teams, including Toronto, within 3.5 games of each other for that wild card position. So as we get closer to the trading deadline and the more rumors you hear and the talk starts to heat up, remember, there are 8 teams. We're just talking wild card, not to mention Cleveland, Texas, and Baltimore, who are the division leaders. That's 11 of the clubs that are legitimate buyers, I would think. Payoff pitch, runner goes, and a foul ball up the first base line.
Well, I was looking at that pitch. I knew he wasn't going to throw him a fastball on a 3-2 count because he did his first at bat and it didn't come back. Well, it came back, but it hit off the facing of the home run second deck. So he comes back this time with the changeup on a 3-2 count. I still don't think he'll throw him a fastball. I think he maybe a curveball or mix it up.
Runner goes, 3-2 pitch hit to right field. In comes Carrera. He dives, can't make the play. And Naquin's going to be able to score from first base. He's coming around third, he will score. Rajay is right on his tail, and the throw to the plate is not in time. Ball skips away, but Rajay went back to third. Now I just hope he's okay. Looked like he was awkwardly hobbling back to first, but he's all right. So an RBI triple for Rajay Davis. It's a one-run game.
Well, here you go. You get Carrera leaving his feet again, and it was a fastball up, and he blooped it in front, and he missed it by a foot. He went diving for it, and once you got no help behind you, and if that rolled any, that kick to the right and over towards the seats, Naquin's able to kick it and gear and score. Rajay was thinking inside the park. It just didn't go straight past Carrera, but he'll be credited with a triple and another RBI, and now the tying run just 90 feet away.
And Jason Kipnis trying to get him home, fouls it off. Rick, I wasn't watching the ball at the very end. It didn't go all the way down into the corner?
No, he was thinking, man, watch him come around third base. And he says, nope, stay right here. But that's a good base runner. He was thinking home until he was held up by Mike Sarbaugh. No, it didn't go straight down to the 328.
I thought for sure it was going to once Carrera dove and missed it.
On that turf, I think it had some spin. Watch where it goes. I think it caught the end of his glove. And see how it kicks off there?
Yeah.
And goes to the side. If it went all the way back, Rajay might have had a chance.
Yes, indeed. Infield in. Kipnis fouls it back, and it's 1-2.
And on this road trip, the Indians have been the triple masters. They now have 20. Rajay gets his second. They lead the league in that department.
Of course, they had 4 in one game in Detroit, 3 in one inning.
Yes.
He struck him out. That's number 6 for Estrada.
Well, it's the high fastball. He changes the eye level, and it's a ball. You got to make him get it down, but easier said than done because his off-speed pitches are so good. You see that pitch the best, and you end up chasing it is what you do. You think you can catch up to it, but it's by you.
Jose Ramirez trying to tie it up with a 2-out hit now. But he struck out his first time up. Three 3-0. Mike Napoli would be next. Just caught the outside corner. You see there, even 3-0. He's not just going to throw one down the middle of the plate. Foul back in a full count. Ramirez with a fly ball to right field. Back goes Carrera, and he'll make the catch. So they leave the tying run at third, but Rajay's triple makes it a one-run game, middle of the third. good one to stay tuned later in the game for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Well, Sean Morimondo is about to make his major league debut. The left-hander out of Virginia Beach. Last year at Akron, he went 10-12 with a 3.18 ERA. This year he's 10-3 with a 3.09 earned run average. 19th round pick 5 years ago. And the left-hander misses, ball one. Fastball, curve, slider, and change. And his first major league hitter that he faces is Josh Donaldson.
Welcome to the big leagues, my friend. You're going to face last year's MVP as your first hitter.
3-0. Bullseye. You imagine the heart rate might be a little bit higher right now than it's ever been before.
Well, you're pitching in front of a packed house.
Popped him up. And Uribe calling for it. Makes the grab. One down. Stat of the game is brought to you by Buick. The Indians extended their win streak to a franchise best 14 in a row. They did it with a 19-inning game. They're the first team ever to extend a 10 or more game win streak with a game that went 19 innings. Edwin Encarnacion takes a strike. That game last night also equaled the longest game in Blue Jays franchise history. They went to 19 innings against Detroit 2 years ago. Wow, that was a good-looking pitch. Did not get the call. It's 2-1.
It's all right. Not a bad pitch, though, to the right-handers. That if you miss in there, and let him know you're not afraid to come in, because his changeup might be his best pitch. You can't throw the same one twice. He followed it up, and you can see he was ready for it. This one looked like it had a little more of the strike zone. So Encarnacion 2 for 2. He went in there the one time, and that time didn't quite get it in there as far, and he was ready for it.
Yeah, it brings up Michael Saunders. Saunders drew a walk his own first time up. And there's a strike. Straighten him up. 1-1. Sean Morimondo was all set to go to East Carolina for college baseball, but decided to start his pro career with the Indians. And he's quickly put himself in a pretty good spot. Three and one. The only left-handed hitters in the lineup today are the leadoff man Carrera and Michael Saunders. And a line drive base hit to center. The Blue Jays have 2 on and 1 out.
Count in Saunders' favor. He gets the fastball away and stayed on it. Takes it to left center field. Didn't really see a slider in that at bat to Saunders.
Well, Russell Martin was called out on strikes his only time up. He swung wildly to pitch outside the strike zone.
Came in with a changeup, started him off, and you can see he played on the aggressiveness of Martin, thinking he was going to get a fastball first pitch.
Up and away, 2-1. Well, the one thing that Morimando is going to have to do here to give himself a chance is he's going to have to get aggressive, because pitching from behind against this lineup is going to put him in a real bind quickly. And now it's 3-1. Troy Tulowitzki waiting on deck. Naquin going back, still going back, makes the catch and fires it back in. And that was a huge play by Naquin here. Otherwise, the Blue Jays could have really blown it open.
Yeah,
and it looked like he caught it maybe right in the palm of the glove as he jumped up.
Look at this in our AT&T high-speed replay. It's straight away center field. Martin thought he had it. Back goes Naquin. He goes into the shade, and right in front of the 400, he jumps up and makes the catch. Gets it back in a hurry. So that'll be out number 2. Good play. Encarnacion did tag up and went to third base, so it's now runners first and third, but 2 are out.
And Troy Tulowitzki will be the batter. Fly to center is only time up. Good block by Jimenez.
Nice pick. Again, nice stop. Keeping it in front. And, you know, normally you expect breaking balls in the dirt, not fastballs. That's a fastball that he spiked out in front of home plate. You're not expecting those in the dirt, so that right there is a little something special for Jimenez. And Saunders could not, he had to stay at first. He wasn't ready to go.
One and one to count. And a good off-speed pitch in for a strike. And it's 1-2.
That was nice. He didn't took it nice and easy. Threw the breaking ball and watched Jimenez go out there and say, that's the pitch I want, a good pitch. Pointed right at him.
In the air to center, back goes Naquin. He has room this time to make the catch and end the inning. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. We've played 3. It's 3-2 Toronto. Mike Napoli leading off, pops one back out of play. Napoli struck out his only time up in the first. Indians down a run. And a glancer off the bat foul. 0-2. And he waves at it, strikes out. That's number 7 for Estrada. And we're only in the 4th inning. Our player profile brought to you by Levin Furniture. Carlos Santana with his home run yesterday in the 19th inning. We told you last night, the latest home run by an Indian since Willie Kirkland in 1963. Not only was yesterday's home run for Santana the 100th of the year for the Indians as a team, he hit the 100th home run of the year for the team last year as well.
No kidding. But much later, as you already said, 123rd game or something like that.
And that really is the difference, that the addition of Mike Napoli and Juan Uribe, even Tyler Naquin, his presence, 6 home runs out of the bottom part of the lineup. Santana had a sharp single to right center his first time up. He gets on top of that one, drives it to deep right field, and we are tied at 3. Santana with his 18th home run of the year, and that was a rocket right down the right field line. And Rick, I'm not so sure that when the pitch approached home plate that I thought he could even get up to it, because we've seen Estrada strike so many guys out today. But not only did he get to it, he hammered it.
Now, Santana got a high fastball, and Santana's one guy. Look at that. That's letter high that he was able to get to that ball. It's the second home run he's hit like that, and that took about 2 seconds to get out of here.
Well, that Indians fan almost lost his wrist.
18 homers now for Santana. Second given up today. So we're back to even. Santana's one guy, it doesn't matter. He likes the fastball no matter how hard you throw it.
And a line drive catch made at first by Encarnacion. He's a better first baseman than he gets credit for. He just doesn't play a lot at first because he DHs primarily, but this guy's pretty good over there with the glove.
That was a little bit of a changeup he hit off the bat. It gave him some time. He was able to take 2 steps as it's hooking away from him. But he still made a nice play to take probably a double away from Chisenhall. So that play will be out number 2. Now they're going to give what, Estrada a break here.
Is it Estrada or is it Encarnacion? If it was Estrada, I would assume the trainers would have been darting out to the mound.
I'm saying they're just giving him a breather. He had to go over there to cover. So Barney playing third base was just going to give him an extra second, acting like he's tying his shoe. There's Santana getting on top of a high fastball. That's the one he's been able to throw by everybody else in this lineup, except that guy.
Now Juan Uribe. He pops one up foul, and that's in the seats. Blue Jays scored 3 times in the span of 4 batters in the first inning to take a 3-1 lead because Rajay Davis led off the game with a home run in the top of the first. So it's taken the Indians a while to get this thing back to even. But we're almost halfway through the ball game, and it's a 3-3 affair. If you just tuned in or joined us late, the Indians are approaching this game as a bullpen by committee affair. The 2-1 down low.
You know, yeah, when you play a game like they played yesterday, and both these teams, it's going to affect your pitching and your bullpen. You know, it's just a matter of how long. So this is a really important game for the Indians to get through this with some of their bullpen and still have something available for tomorrow. You know, because I know Kluber's pitching, everybody thinks complete game, but if you don't get it, it's like Shaw's shut down for the whole day. You know, Allen had yesterday off. So there's impact that it's going to take on your staff.
Hard hit ground ball to third. Donaldson, or rather Barney, sidearms it over, and the inning is over. Carlos Santana goes deep, home run number 18, and we've got a 3-3 game, middle of the 4th. As we go to the bottom of the fourth here in Toronto, Kevin Pillar will lead off for the Blue Jays.
That was in between innings, and that was a warm-up attempt where he caught a cleat out in front. Wasn't able to deliver it.
Kevin Pillar, Darwin Barney, and Ezekiel Carrera. Pillar fouls it right back. Two quick strikes.
That's a good pitch there. This time he got one. He went in there, if you remember last inning on Encarnacion.
He didn't get that call.
He didn't get that call. But you got to keep going in there and prove to the right-handers that you can pitch him inside, and it's going to help you down the road. Because now he's trying to mix in that curveball along with the changeup.
Another fly ball to center field where Tyler Naquin makes the catch. That's 3 straight catches by Naquin. 1 down. Our great clip of the game from yesterday comes courtesy of Trevor Bauer, who, even though his turn to pitch was today, he went in yesterday out of the bullpen and was just sensational.
I'll tell you, he really didn't have a breaking ball yesterday for him. His curveball's been good when he starts.
Yeah.
He was turned into a fastball pitcher. But I mean to tell you, he went out there and he was unbelievable. He was tough. And to think about it, they never went to him until the 12th inning that he was able to turn that mind on and say, let's go. We got to get into game mode. And as you say, when you're on the road pitching out of the bullpen, you're 1 pitch away from losing the game. And he was that for 5 straight innings.
And he even
Picked
told
up
Andre
his defense. He was great.
after the game. He said, I didn't even know what inning it was. He just kind of, you're just so locked into the moment. He said when the game ended, he goes, is that it? Is it over finally?
Well, he endeared himself, boy, to his teammates, because what a wonderful job he did and gave him an opportunity to win.
Now the 2-1. Line drive center field and the base hit for Darwin Barney.
There you go. Falling behind. That's the situation where the players get an opportunity to sit on that fastball. Barney got it, and he lines it right back up the middle for a base hit.
Let's go back to yesterday after the ball game. Here's Terry Francona on the performance of Trevor Bauer.
I thought what Trevor did was kind of above and beyond. We're pretty fortunate that a couple things, not only that he can do it, but he's willing to do it. And, you know, I mean, because one slip up and we go home. And, you know, you get so invested in a game like that because, you know, I mean, you've shot everybody. So it feels good to win.
Yeah, Kipnis was late getting over there on the drag bunt. It was a nice bunt by Carrera. Kipnis late getting to the bag as Santana tried to flip. He got it there, but Kip wasn't ready. It's a nice bunt by Carrera. He takes it with him. Poor Armando, he couldn't get there, and by the time you see Kipnis get there, he's a little late. He's about a half a step late. Almost. Got to give credit. It was a really good bunt.
2 on, 1 out now, and Devon Travis the batter. He grounded to third his last time up. Down on the dirt, another good block by Jimenez. Foul back. By the way, we haven't really talked about it much, but in order to get Sean Moramondo on the ball club, the Indians had to designate Michael Martinez for assignment. Now the 1-2. Swung on and missed. Oh, Moramondo gets a huge strikeout, and there are 2 down in the inning.
There, Circle K strikeout right there. They wanted to go inside. He missed him, got it up and away, but he gets the swing from Travis and gets the second out of the inning. So that'll be his first strikeout.
In there for a strike. Donaldson takes. It's called a strike.
Again, he wanted it inside. You see where Jimenez was going in, and a lot of times you'll see when catchers are sitting inside and they have to reach out across the plate, a lot of times they won't call that pitch, even though it was a strike, and he got the call away, so he's ahead in the count now. 0-2.
Bounced it in front of the plate. Sounds repetitive, but another good block by Jimenez.
Well, we're just going to say that at least once with every batter.
Up and away. The roster move to get Moramondo on and designate Michael Martinez for assignment. Essentially what that does, at least for today, is it leaves the Indians with only 2 players on their bench, position players. Yan Gomes, the backup catcher, and Francisco Lindor. Now the 2-2. Strike 3 called. Oh, Moramondo. What a terrific job to get out of trouble here in the 4th with back-to-back strikeouts. He gets Travis swinging, Donaldson looking. Baseball is brought to you by Levin Furniture. For the best deals on furniture and mattresses, shop Levin's. 3-3 ball game. And we go to the 5th. Tyler Naquin, Chris Jimenez, and Rajai Davis due up for the Tribe. Naquin singled and scored, leading off the 3rd. And he takes outside ball 1. Rajai Davis has driven in 2 of the Indians' 3 runs. He had a leadoff homer to start the game and then an RBI triple in the 3rd.
He's trying to go for the reverse cycle. Homer, triple, double, single.
Chased one up high, 2-2. Rajai due up 3rd here in this inning. Threw the bat at it, popped it straight up. And the pitcher Estrada has it 1 away.
Well, Indians baseball is live with the MLB.com at-bat app. You can stay connected all season with radio broadcasts, video highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone and tablet.
Up comes Chris Jimenez. He struck out his last time up in the 3rd inning. First at bat of the day. Way out in front of that off-speed pitch. Low and away. 2 balls and a strike. Through the first 4 innings of this game, the Indians have left 1 man on base. The Blue Jays have already left 6. That's low, a full count. Pulls it foul, and we'll do it again. Pops that up foul, and that'll find the seats down the right side. Toronto at 43-39 this year finds themselves 5.5 games out of first. That's 3rd place in the AL East. They're a game and a half back of Boston. Jimenez pops one to center. And there are 2 down. In-game recap brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Rajai Davis with the leadoff homer that we spoke of. Made it 1-0. Blue Jays came right back, took advantage of some wildness by Zach McAllister. 2 walks and a hit batter. Parlayed that into a 3-run first. It stayed 3-1 Toronto until Rajai Davis tripled home Naquin in the 3rd, and then Santana tied it in the 4th. Joe Biagini is up in the Toronto bullpen, the right-hander. Estrada just over 90 pitches this afternoon with 2 down here in the 5th, and Rajai Davis pops one up foul, and that's out of play. Rajai homered to left on a line drive bullet. Then in the 3rd, he blooped one to right that Ezekiel Carrera made an ill-fated diving attempt on, and it went for a triple.
Yeah, 3 of the 5 hits by the Indians, extra bases. Of course, the Davis and the Santana home run, and then the Davis triple. There's a good changeup by Estrada. It goes to show, here's one of those guys that we talk about, man. Yeah, you're looking for one thing and you get another. He's keeping the hitters off balance.
Ground ball to short to Lewitzki. Close play, and he's out by a whisker to end the inning. The Indians go 1-2-3 here in the 5th. It's a 3-3 ball game.
Well, pregame in the district on Friday, July 8th, before the Tribe will take on the New York Yankees from 5 to 7 in the right field district. You can enjoy $2 Miller Lite cans along with dollar dogs. After the game, you can check out Summer Anthem Fireworks. It's presented by Wayside Furniture.
Edwin Encarnacion leading off the bottom of the 5th. Hit a 3-run homer in the 1st. It's a lot easier to do damage when you're in the lineup. He got himself thrown out of the ball game in the 1st inning yesterday, and that definitely hurt Toronto's offense when you consider it was a 1-1 game until the 19th.
No question. But you know, when you're caught up into it, and we talked about it yesterday, it was Donaldson the time before where, you know, he was called out on a strike 3, and maybe that had something to do with it as well.
Moramondo hustles over. Santana gives him a good flip. Sean was Searching for that bag with his right foot, but he found it.
Well, getting his major league debut and probably a little intimidating, pitching in front of a packed house. I don't know if you'd want it any other way, but he seemed to settle down a little bit. He's starting to throw all of his pitches. Jimenez is working him very well. Makes a big fastball away with Donaldson up last inning to get through it. So continue to put zeros on the board, young man. You'll have an opportunity for that first major league win.
He's facing Michael Saunders, who has walked and singled today.
Yeah, he fell behind Saunders his first at bat, gave up a base hit, 3-1 fastball away. The hits that he started to give up usually is when he's fallen behind in the count.
There's the curveball, but it's fouled off. Nice backhand play.
Sitting in the front row.
It's the outside part of the plate, and it's 1-2. Out of play down the left side, or is it?
No, it's going to stay in play maybe. Oh, that thing had some slice to it. You know, it's weird. We're sitting in a little bunker here. We don't get really a chance to see the sky. I mean, we see the roof, but we see the sunlight peeking in. And when that ball goes up there, it's tough to see. I mean, that's a beautiful look right there. It's a beautiful sky, but we don't, from where we're sitting, don't get an opportunity to see it. We're closed in.
Now the 2-2. Got him swinging.
There you go.
Second, or I should say the third strikeout for Sean Morimondo. 2 down in the inning. Let's go down to Andre Knott. We were talking before about the fact the Indians only have 2 position players on the bench today. Andre, in all likelihood, Sean Morimondo's here for just today.
Yes, no, it's going to happen. He's going to go back to maybe AAA, maybe AA after the game, and the team will make another move. Now they had to move around Joe Colon, if you remember that name, just to get him on the roster. And Abraham Almonte, who was suspended for 80 games, has a one-day. It's a hard way to explain it. He's got 1 day because this is the 80th game today. So he could be called up, but it depends how the bullpen and how this game plays out on who they call up tomorrow. But they won't have a 2-man bench tomorrow, basically.
No, Santana can't dig it out. Otherwise, the inning's over. Uribe made the off-balance throw to first. It looked like a pretty scoopable ball, and Carlos did everything right. It was right in front of him, but it just didn't stick in the glove.
No, and he makes the throw on the run. It's a short little pick. He doesn't pick it cleanly. Actually pulled his hand back.
Well, if he
looked like he could have went out to get it.
Yeah.
Exactly, it would have hit leather. No, he played that ball, and I'm sure Uribe will get the error. But that ball, to me, it looked like Carlos might have been able to catch.
So the inning stays alive for Troy Tulowitzki. How in the world do you give a guy a base hit?
Base hit? Okay, that's very generous. Well, I'm thinking of yes. I see where his hand came back instead of going out to get the ball. You never come back with it. You go out to get it.
Martin had given up on it. He wasn't even running hard at the end.
Well, about
That's
yesterday
awful.
Too, about the official scoring. They give him a hit here. They gave a stolen base when the guy was playing behind him yesterday, late in the ball game, and that shouldn't even have been a stolen base. But they gave him one, so who knows?
Troy Tulowitzki with a 1-1 count. just missed. That's 2-1. Three and one.
Still continue to make a good solid pitch here. They're going to get the extra hitter with the the play that was just should have been made. He should be out of the inning, but now he's behind in the count, so you got to make a good pitch. 3-1.
He made it too good a pitch. And Tulowitzki just made him pay.
Well, that's
the error. Well, it wasn't called an error, but it kept the inning alive, and it proves costly here in the fifth.
And every time it's been a 3-1 count, Moromondo's been hurt. That's why you had to really be careful in that situation. They get an extra out in the inning, and they take advantage of it. So it's now a 5-3 ball game. Change up to Tulowitzki. That ball stayed up, and it gets out. It was a line drive, number 13 for Tulowitzki. And all the runs scored by Toronto today coming via the long ball. 3-run homer in the first, 2-run homer in the fifth.
Strike to the outside corner. Now the 2-2 and a foul right back. You know, not that it matters because it's water under the bridge, but I was thinking once he fell behind Tulowitzki, I was thinking, you know, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to just walk him and go after Pilar.
Well, you think about that. I mean, but if he executes his pitch there, he left a changeup up. Tulowitzki got him. But it's a moot point. He should have been out of the inning.
The payoff struck him out. Moromondo strikes out 2, but a bad defensive play at first cost the Indians a pair here in the fifth. T-Mobile, greater coverage of baseball. Johnny Cueto went 7, gave up 4, struck out 9, and a Giants 6-4 win over the Diamondbacks. First Giants pitcher to start 12-1 since what? 1904. It's pretty good.
Good sign for the Giants right there.
Joe Biagini. Second appearance in the series.
Well, that stops Estrada's string of 6 innings and 5 hits. He only gave up 5 hits today, but he went 5 innings. Gave up the 3 runs, but has a chance for a win today if their bullpen can hold on. But it's a long way to go.
Biagini worked a scoreless inning yesterday. And that was called a strike. Not so sure Kipnis is on the same page with DJ Rayburn there. Kipnis has struck out twice. Big curveball. And now it's 0-2. Biagini has not pitched all that well lately. He's given up 7 earned runs in his last 8 innings. Left-handed hitters are 14 out of 49 for a .286 average against him. Two and 2. Kipnis chases one, but it gets away, and he'll be able to make it to first. So a strikeout and a wild pitch, and the Indians have a base runner to start the 6th.
Yeah, that one got away from Martin. I don't know how. Let me see if it deflects off him. He wants that curveball down, and that's what it was. That curveball really jumped the other way. It looked like it went off his forearm and deflects back. Kipnis sees it right away, so he gets off and he's going to run. He's going to be able to reach first base. So even though you get the strikeout, you got that man aboard.
And now Jose Ramirez tying run at the plate. Out of play. Up and in. Russell Martin has only thrown out 12.8% of the would-be base stealers this year.
Yeah, he's had a much tougher year this year. He was very good at it last year, but for whatever reason, different year.
Ramirez lost the bat. Luckily, it didn't hit anybody.
Yeah, it just goes straight back. We see that happened a few times in the last week.
Two count. We're in the 6th. Mike Napoli waiting on deck. Kipnis was going, and Biagini stepped off the backside of the rubber, and just as he did, Kipnis slammed on the brakes.
That's one of the few times where a pitcher sees him when he took off like that. Kip stopped and he stepped off.
Ramirez lines a base hit in the left.
Well done. So there's their start. Boy, you get the strikeout, the wild pitch, and now you have first and second, nobody out. And a nice stroke by Jose. He stayed on the baseball nicely, take it the other way. Didn't try to pull it. He gets his first hit this afternoon. The Indians get their 6th. Martin's going to go to the mound, and they're going to get their bullpen up and throwing.
It might be Aaron Loup who just got called up. Brett Cecil has pitched in each of the last 2 games. So this is Aaron Loup. Just added the left-hander to their bullpen. And in the meantime, Mike Napoli has struck out twice today. Fouled right back. And it's quickly 0-2. Napoli has picked up 8 hits on the road trip. And he almost chased there, but he did not go.
The breaking ball, tried to get him to chase after it. There you take a look at the side. He did not.
Napoli has 1 fewer hit on the road this year than he does at home. Swing and a miss. That is 9 strikeouts for Toronto pitching today.
Well, looks like a little cut fastball down and away. He went with the curveball. He bounced it to get to the 1-2. Comes back with a nice hard cutter. Looked like the fastball. It slides right at the end. And Napoli has gone down 3 times today.
And Carlos Santana singled in the 2nd, homered in the 4th. 2 on, 1 out. Back in the 4th inning. Base is empty, a high fastball, and he clobbered it.
Yeah, he was one guy that was able to get up there and get it from Estrada where many guys couldn't. But Santana did. He is 18th on the year. Tied the game at that time. Well, they don't want to mess around a whole lot with Santana. Got the game winner yesterday, tied the game up here today. They're sort of staying away from him.
Three and 1 to count. Of the Indians' 102 home runs this year, not a lot of the home runs are hit with runners in scoring position, which is somewhat surprising. 3-1. Full count. Right now, Mike Napoli and Yan Gomes each have hit 3 home runs with a runner in scoring position. That leads the team. Santana and Rajay Davis have each hit 2 homers with a runner in scoring position. Nobody else on the team has more than 1. And the payoff popped him up foul, back out of play. Seems like a lot of times home runs are hit Not necessarily regardless of who's on base, but you get a lot of first pitch home runs because guys, maybe with nobody on base, pitchers wants to challenge them, and they're going up looking first pitch fastball.
Yes.
If they get it.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Trying to get ahead of the hitter, and you make a mistake and give up a first pitch homer.
Again, the 3-2. Outside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. And with Lonnie Chisenhall coming up, we'll see what John Gibbons does here. If he goes to his lefty in the bullpen or if he stays with Biagini. Loop is ready. It's not a matter of that. It's just a question of whether or not Gibbons wants to go to him. He just called him up from the minor leagues today.
I figure he's going to leave this guy in. Maybe he'll bring him in for Naquin. That's the next left-handed hitter in the lineup. See if Chisenhall can base hit will tie the game.
Boy, he's been aggressive going after that first pitch. Fouls it back. Lonnie hitless on the year with the bases loaded, and now he's 0 for 2. Or 0 and 2, I should say. He's 5 for 10 in this series. And all 5 of those hits coming in yesterday's game. Struck him out. 2 down. It's the 3rd strikeout of the inning, but thanks to the wild pitch, this inning's still alive for Cleveland. Well, 3 pitches, though, he just wiped them out.
Well, and he was swinging at anything. This one not even close. He bounced it, and he was swinging all the way. He had a good cut at the first one and fouled it back. But this one bounces way out in front of him. He missed that by 2 feet. So 2 outs now. It's going to take a 2-out base hit by Uribe.
Juan 0 for 2 today. And a fastball strike to the outside corner. Low and away. 1-1. And a pop back foul.
Well, he got after the high fastball a little bit out of his zone. Tough to get on top of. Take good hacks at that. You get it down a little bit, he would have hammered it, but it was above the hitting area for Juan.
Outside, 2-2. Over his last 10 games, Uribe has 10 hits, including 8 runs batted in and 8 runs scored. Half of his hits have been homers. So he's been in a good groove of late. The 2-2 off the end of the bat foul. Jason Kipnis is at third base. Jose Ramirez tying run at second. Santana at first. And the 2-2 is low. A full count. So this will be interesting because the runners will be off on the pitch. As Uribe tries to do some damage. Fouled back.
Well, he didn't mess around. He came right there with a fastball. There you get it. Fouled it back again. So re-rack it and come back for another 3-2 pitch. Runners off and running.
And the payoff. Hit him. He hit him. And the Indians have closed to within a run.
Boy.
And they'll come out to check and make sure Uribe's okay.
Painful way to get Uribe. You would have rather have taken ball 4, but I'll tell you what, it works for the Indians. They get a run to cross home plate, and they're down by 1 now. We'll see if he makes the move now.
Oh yeah, John Gibbons is already out of the dugout.
Looks like the top hand for Uribe. He couldn't get out of the way. That ball just took off, and you can see it on the right hand. Maybe the thumb.
So he's going to go to his left-hander, and it's Aaron Loop who will be coming on for Toronto. It's now a 5-4 Blue Jays lead. The Indians have the bags loaded with 2 down. And we'll see the left-hander Loop when we come back. Stay in the game. A little sore on that right hand. New pitcher is left-hander Aaron Loop, making his second stint with the Blue Jays this year. In 8 games at AAA, went 2-0 and did not allow a run over his 8 innings of work. He'll be facing Tyler Naquin, who's 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored. But the bases are loaded with 2 down, and the Indians are down just 1.
Yeah, it's been a weird inning.
And it's outside ball 1. It could be that Loop's only on to face Naquin. They've got a right-hander up in the pen and right-handed hitter on deck. The inning began with a strikeout, but a wild pitch enabled Kipnis to reach, and he came around to score. Ramirez singled, and with 1 out, Santana walked to load the bases, and after Chisenhall struck out, Uribe drew a bases loaded walk to drive in a run.
Yeah, he has 3 strikeouts in the inning, but we still have the bases loaded and a run in. Martin's going to take this right off the mask. Pretty good swing there by Naquin.
Pulls it by the pitcher, and the second baseman Travis throws him out. Indians leave them loaded. They do get a run in. Middle of the 6th, they trail it 5-4. lead. And Francisco Lindor has entered the game, taking over at shortstop, pushing Ramirez over to third, and I'm assuming they're going to take a look at Juan Uribe in that hand after he got hit by the pitch. Our man Andres all over it. In fact, he might be doing the x-rays on Uribe. Darwin Barney leading off, takes down low, ball one. What do you got, Andre?
Well, it's that finger that they're looking at. He couldn't bend his number one finger, basically. Couldn't bend it. It was a little red, looked like it was swelling up a little bit. I can't x-ray him because we only have a couple words we understand when we talk to each other.
Curly, the curly finger. number one.
The number one
Would
finger.
that be the index finger?
That's the index finger,
yes.
yes.
To make sure.
It's a long day yesterday.
Some people have a different way of expressing number one.
Happy Canada Day.
Yeah. Here it is, down low. 3-0 to Darwin Barney. Indians have action in the bullpen as Sean Morimondo begins his fourth inning out of the bullpen, and he walked Barney in 4 straight. Now this is what happened to Uribe.
There's really not a way or a chance he could get out of the way. That thing kept riding in on him, and it caught him on that right hand.
Well, especially it's a 3-2, bases loaded. You know,
he's looking away
right
for something. That got him. And a lot of times when that ball hits your hand, the bat's in there, and there's no cushion.
It's like hitting your thumb with a hammer when it's on top of the nail head.
Ouch.
That was called a ball, and out goes Jimenez to chat with Morimondo.
See 71 pitches, pretty close to even balls and strikes.
And a foul right back.
And I'm thinking this very well could be his last hitter.
Call the strike on the outside edge. And Morimondo gets ahead of Carrera 1-2. The bunt the last time he was up, the drag bunt, is the only hit in the series for Carrera, but he has walked 5 times, and he was hit by a pitch to start the game, enabling him to score a run. That's low, 2-2. Kipnis will go to Lindor. There's one back to first. Double play.
Well done.
Here comes Terry Francona, and we will get that pitching change you were referring to.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing, though. You get him out of there. There's nobody on base. He made the pitch he had to make to the left-hander, got the double play ball. So Sean Morimondo, you know, did his job today. They needed Tito went as long as he could with him. Of course, he could have been out of that 5th inning. When you think about it, when he gave up the 2 runs, so really not a bad job for your first major league appearance. Going out there, he kept it in play.
We've got a timeout. Dan Otero's coming on when we come back. Major league debut. 3 2/3 innings, couple of runs, 6 hits, walked 1, struck out 4. The 2 runs were scored after the inning should have been over. Still, in the end, he gave them a little length, and he's given them an opportunity to still be in the ball game here, down a run. And with 2 down and the bases empty, Devon Travis is the batter with Dan Otero on the hill, making his 28th appearance this year. He's 2-0 with an 0.89 ERA.
Yeah, and Danny went an inning and a third in yesterday's ball game.
Isn't it funny though how just a few days ago we were talking to, oh, this guy hasn't pitched in over a week, this guy hasn't pitched in over a week. All it takes is one game like yesterday and throws it all out of whack.
Yeah, but you know, we talked about the starting pitchers on this streak.
Deep to center, Naquin back, still going back, and makes the catch. 75% of the innings have been logged by the starters, but the bullpen's getting their fair share of the work the last 2 days. Indians baseball is brought to you by the Injury Lawyers at Elk & Elk, proud partner of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. And by Ford, built Ford tough. Seventh inning now at the Rogers Center in Toronto. On a beautiful day. New pitcher for the Blue Jays is right-hander Drew Hutchison. So Aaron Loup came on, faced one batter, but he got the ground ball, got out of the inning.
Yeah, well, you see, this is a starter, and this is his second appearance with Toronto this year. He made one start for him earlier in the year. But coming on.
Upstairs, ball 1. He's got Chris Jimenez, Rajay Davis, and Jason Kipnis due up. And Jimenez rockets one to deep left field. Back goes Saunders and makes the running catch. As promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And Rajay Davis has done a nice job here this afternoon. He led off the game with a home run. That went off the went into the second deck. And then in the third inning, he tripled to right field, driving in a run.
Yeah, that's the 4th time Indians have hit a leadoff homer. Santana 3 times. Davis.
Rajay Davis with a base hit, and it gets by the center fielder Pilar. Davis around second, and he'll put the brakes on there.
Boy, he thought about it.
Probably a wise move, though. Down a run, you've got to know you can get to third in this situation.
Yeah. Well, that's true. You're down a run. It's the 7th inning, and he thought about it. I know. He caught a breaking ball and was very aggressive, so he's one hit away from the cycle, and that's the easy one, the single. But once Pilar couldn't get there, he wasn't far from the wall. That's the only reason why Rajai didn't go to third. So his third hit of the day, and he is in scoring position. That is the tying run here.
And here's Jason Kipnis, who is 0 for 3 on the day. Inside, ball 1. Kipnis struck out in the 6th, but reached on a wild pitch and came around to score a run to make it a 1-run ball game. And he drives one to deep center. Back goes Pilar, makes the catch, and Davis will have to hold at second base.
Tell you what, he's got him popping up. They're hitting some line drives off Hutchison. That one right on the nose. Every ball hit. Jimenez hit a line drive to left. Davis hit the slider. Here's Kipnis going straight away center, sending Pilar back. Everything has been hit on the nose.
So at 2 outs, it'll take a big hit from Jose Ramirez, who's 1 for 3 on the day. Ramirez tried to get Davis home from third with 2 outs in the 3rd inning, but he flied out to right. And a foul back, 2-2. Boy, Minnesota putting a whooping on Texas today. 11-1 in the bottom of the 3rd.
Boy.
That is incredible, isn't it?
Well, yes, it is. Jumped out early and they haven't stopped.
Here's an 0-2 pitch to Ramirez. Upstairs with it. And a foul right back. Well, it just goes to show you that in baseball, and you mention this, sometimes people look at you like you're crazy, but even the best team, which this year in the American League, Texas has been the best team, they can be beaten by the worst team, which so far the Twins have been on any given day. Ramirez again fouls it back. Funny, in a game like that, you got 11 runs on the board. Only 2 home runs have been hit. Of course, it was a 3-run shot by Kepler and a 2-run homer by Sano. And they're only in the 4th inning. So the way Texas can score, still a long way to go there. Now the 1-2. Close. Hutchison wanted it, didn't get it. And Ramirez gets a chance to see one more pitch at least.
Yeah, they're trying to go inside with him right there, and it's down. That's a little too low. Good eye by Hosey. Bring the count back to even. He's hit everything he had. He fouled off a fastball, breaking ball. He's got a pretty good read on him.
Fouled back.
Martin wants to go out there and talk to Hutchison right now, and he's just up high enough where Ramirez is not hitting on a line. If he gets it down a little bit, he'll get him. And I think Martin might have went out there in a 2-2 count. You see first base is open. Just told him, you know, just be careful. You've got the right-hander on deck. Just to give him a little scouting report here, because he can see that Ramirez he's pretty much on everything he's throwing.
Now the 2-2. Inside, a full kill.
Well, he doesn't have to give in. You know, and that's not a bad thing to try and stay in here on Ramirez, because you remember he took a base hit the other way in his last at-bat on a pretty good pitch down and away. So Martin's thinking, I'm not going to let him serve one out there with Davis on second base. If he's going to hit it, maybe make him pull it.
The payoff, pulls it foul. Now Jose Ramirez has done a little bit of everything this year. He's hit for power at times. He's been particularly good in the clutch, hitting .396 overall.
He's the unsung hero in this offense for me. For the role that he has played up and down the lineup, hitting every spot in the lineup this year.
Ground ball up the middle, and it's going to get through. This is going to tie the game. Rajay scores, and once again, Jose Ramirez delivers with a clutch 2-out hit with a runner in scoring position. That's his 14th on the year.
That shocks me that they really went after him that way, and they gave him some swinging room. And look at, they went away again. I thought Martin would come inside with first base open and force him to pull it, but he gave him a pitch out there. He drives it right back up the middle. And another clutch hit for Ramirez, and we have a new ball game. Great job of hitting, young man.
Now Mike Napoli, as Ramirez draws a throw. Jose Ramirez now has a batting average with runners in scoring position and 2 outs of .400. Napoli tees off, drives one to deep left. Back is Saunders. He's on the track at the wall. It's off the fence, and Ramirez flying into third. He's going to be waved home. The throw sails way over Tulowitzki's head, and Ramirez scores easily.
How about that? I'll tell you what.
Napoli with a 2-out RBI double.
That was a clutch hit, and they're going to look and appeal at third base, I think, because Encarnacion was watching. I'm not sure Ramirez got it. But the throw coming in missed the first cutoff man, or they would have had a really good chance at Ramirez. He overthrows it, and the trailer has to make the play. Little off the end of the bat for Knapp, or he would have hit it out. But watch when it comes in. Pilar overthrows the cutoff man. The trailer has to get it. And by the time he can get the ball in, Ramirez dives in head first easily to score, and they take the lead. But they will appeal this now going down to third base once the ball is put back in play. They're saying that Ramirez missed third base. We'll see what happens here.
Well, that's something they can go to the video, too.
Well, first they have to appeal, and the home plate umpire, I think, is the one in charge of making the call, because the third base umpire goes out, so they rotate. And we'll see if the home plate umpire ball is put into play. They're going to walk off and appeal. Let's see what happens. Okay, the third base umpire made the call. I thought he'd be out at the wall, but he had a long stride. He was gassed. But there you go. You're going to see. He touches the inside corner. It was,
he grazed it.
That's okay.
That's all you have to do.
All you need is a piece of leather on that thing. So big 2-out hit.
Boy, Napoli almost hit it out of here as the Indians have their first lead of the game. Well, I shouldn't say that. They led for about 2 minutes when Rajay led off the game with a home run. And then Toronto scored in the bottom half of the first, hit the 3-run homer. They've been fighting uphill ever since, but now they're back on top. Carlos Santana's reached safely all 3 times today. Singled in the second, he homered in the 4th, and he walked in the 6th. 2-out damage. Ramirez and Napoli back to back. foul right back.
I will say this, Hutchison, these guys have hit him well in this inning. Even the outs, very loud.
Popped him up. This should get him out of the inning. Barney, the third baseman, puts it away. Stretch time in Toronto, and the Blue Jays find themselves behind. Jose Ramirez tied it. Mike Napoli put the Indians in front. Josh Donaldson going to lead off the bottom of the seventh for Toronto. And Dan Otero throws that sinker in. Donaldson rips it deep, and we are tied again. Second home run of the series for Donaldson.
Well, in the second Indians lead that lasts for about a minute. Actually, it lasted for one pitch. All of Toronto runs coming on the long ball today. So they tie it up at 6. Donaldson hits his 20th, and it's the first sinker going down and in. Looked like Jimenez was sitting away. It comes in, and the big boy got him.
Now Edwin Encarnacion. He takes a strike. 6-6 in the seventh. Broke his bat. Shallow center. Kipnis might be the easiest man to get there, and he does.
His bat, the barrel head of his bat went to shallow left, out past shortstop. That thing exploded, and it was a base hit in the hole. Ramirez is going to pick it up and bring it back into play. So he popped it up. You can see that thing take off, and he has the handle in his hand. And Kipnis makes the play, so they get the first out.
Michael Saunders is 1 for 2 today. Shows bunt, takes a strike. That's in the dirt.
That was the first home run that Otero allowed this year.
Line drive center field, base hit. 1 on, 1 out.
Well, season tickets offer the best perks, including savings and access to Tribe Rewards. And today's Tribe Rewards TV code is SLIDER. Just visit Indians.com season tickets for complete details.
That'll bring up Russell Martin. Russell Martin was credited with an infield single for some reason.
Yeah,
his last time up.
It was a gift.
Swung on and missed. Indians bullpen is quiet. Strike call. Just missing there. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Good teaser pitch right there, trying to get him to chase it out over the plate. The first couple were breaking balls, breaking away from him, tried to dot the fastball on the outside corner.
Low. Given that Brian Shaw is down today, the remaining pitchers in the Indians bullpen are Tommy Hunter, Jabba Chamberlain, Tom Gorzolani, and Cody Allen. Tied him up, struck him out, 2 down. Well, back in the 5th inning, there were 2 outs. Russell Martin hit a little roller to third. Uribe made a nice scoop and throw, and Santana tried to pick it instead of reaching out and catching it. That kept the inning alive, and then Tulowitzki hammered a home run over the left field wall, and just like that, Toronto went ahead.
Yeah, that was just the extra out in the inning. It gave them an opportunity, and they took advantage of it.
Ground ball to third, and it's booted by Ramirez. Boy, oh boy. We just got done showing you a defensive play that what it wasn't made and how costly it was.
Second error of the day, and it'll give Toronto again 1 more out in an inning. He just never really looked it in. So that'll prolong the inning. That'll give Pilar an opportunity.
Technically, my friend, it's only the first error, but only technically.
Well, that's true.
On our scorecards, it's the second error of the day.
I changed it. You're right. I went from an error, but I never took it off my card.
Kevin Pilar walked in the second, flied out, struck out his last 2 times up.
We'll see if Otero can pick his defense up here and give him an opportunity. Keep this game tied.
One ball, 1 strike. Hit foul. Kevin Pillar is 2 for 13 in the series. That's outside, 2-2. Now Otero fires in. It's jammed, rolls foul, third base side. During this incredible win streak, the Indians pitching staff has been fantastic. The starters' ERA is under 2. The bullpen has been outstanding as well, but they're being tested today by a Blue Jays team that has been dormant in the first 2 games of the series.
Okay, good job, Danny. Way to get out of it.
A solo homer by Josh Donaldson has tied the game at 6 through 7 in Toronto. Telecast is presented by authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. .6 our score. And as we go to the 8th inning, Toronto goes back to its bullpen. Drew Hutchison worked an inning, gave up 2 runs on 3 hits. Now Jason Grilli comes on. Grilli, the veteran, has the 6, 7, and 8 spots in the order, but it's Chisenhall, Lindor, and Naquin. After Francisco came into the ball game when Juan Uribe had to exit after being hit by a pitch. Lonnie Chisenhall fouls it back. Outside.
They're playing Chisenhall to left center field, where 3 of his hits came yesterday out of the 5. Has a lot of room in right center field.
And Lonnie shoots one fouled on the left side. Nice play by the ball boy down there.
Look at he's acting like he does it every day. That a boy.
Got this.
Got it off the stool. 2, 3 steps and a jump. No problem.
Who wants a ball? Who wants a souvenir? Boom.
Good read off the bat.
Lonnie has struck out twice today. Lined out to the first baseman in the 4th. Threw it by him. Baseball's All-Star Game coming up Tuesday, July 12th from Petco Park in San Diego. All the biggest and brightest stars in baseball will be on display, including, hopefully, this guy, Francisco Lindor, who bats with 1 out in the 8th. His first at-bat of the day. He was getting the day off, but when you only have 2 guys on the bench, and one of them's the backup catcher, if somebody goes down, you have to go in. The Indians have been playing with a short bench pretty much all season long, and I'll be curious to see after the game what roster move is made, what they decide to do. If Abraham Almonte is eligible after 81 games. Is it 80 or 81?
80 games.
So he'd be eligible. Whether or not they feel like he's ready, he's been swinging the bat well at Columbus. Fouled right back. But I would think, Rick, you'd want at least another position player, whether it's him or somebody else.
Well, I could understand today because the bullpen's a little fried.
Yep, absolutely.
Totally understand that, but yes, you're going to need some more help as far as position players go.
Because there is not another day off till the All-Star break.
Right.
So.
You're done, and you're coming home, and you're looking for a good start from Kluber tomorrow. First of all, let's see what happens in this game, man. We may play extras in this game. You never know what can happen.
Hey, you're right on. The 0-2. Lindor taps it, and Grilli flips it over. 2 down.
Well, you can relive the Cavs post-game celebration after winning the NBA title with a special rebroadcast of Cavaliers Live. That'll start tonight at 8:30 on Fox Sports Ohio. That'll be fun to watch again.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we won't get it up here.
At some point, I want to go back and watch the game again.
Now,
because
do it tonight. People back home, do it tonight.
So caught up in when it happened, I'd like to go back and just watch it and not be on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, because you know the outcome now.
Right. A little more enjoyable.
Relaxed.
Tyler Naquin takes a strike. Tommy Hunter is up in the bullpen, literally. That's it. He's not throwing. He's just standing up. I don't know if Botero's coming back for another inning. We'll wait and see. Naquin looks, it's outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Both these teams want to win this game. I'm sure they both want to badly win it in regulation.
Well, Toronto, they're on the start of a long homestand here going into the break. They certainly want to win. After the Indians take the first 2 games of the series, and they've only scored 2 runs today, they've broken out a bit with the long ball, and all their 6 runs that have scored today have come on the long ball. But boy, that'd be disappointing. The Indians can spoil that party.
Now the 1-2. Naquin fouling it back. Another big crowd here at the Rogers Center, 46,197. Enjoying a beautiful afternoon. The 1-2 struck him out. Jason Grilli works a 1-2-3 8th inning. Fired up on a holiday weekend here in Toronto. And here in the bottom of the 8th inning now, Dan Otero back out there with Tommy Hunter warming in the bullpen. And Darwin Barney takes. And it's called a ball. Barney is 1 for 2. Struck out in the 2nd, walked in the 6th, singled in between. Hit Jimenez on the follow through. Between the blocking of the balls, the foul tips, and getting hit by a guy on his follow through, catchers take some kind of beating.
He's had a rough couple of days.
Got him
Good
looking.
pitch.
Oh, that was pretty. Right on the outside corner.
After coming from the inside part of the plate, he goes outside, gets the call on a nice slider. Second strikeout for Otero.
Andre, I saw the welt on the forearm, right forearm of Chris Jimenez yesterday during the game. What did he look like after it was all said?
He looked like he was in a boxing match. And, you know, I came up to him and I laughed, and he showed me his left arm and his right arm. Just welts all over both of them. But you know the best thing about Chris Jimenez? He looked at me and laughed, and he goes, "That's my job."
Yeah.
He goes, "It's the job of a catcher." He goes, "I'll take it every night if I got to." And he's getting it again today. He came over after the first inning. He looked at me and showed me his forearm. He's got another one. He's going to be black and blue by the time this game's over.
And loving every minute of it.
They've got ice for that, right? That's what the players all say. That's just a bit outside. 2-0.
No, what happens is a lot of times people don't understand when you're a catcher and that happens to you. They don't realize you still got to go up and hit and hold the bat, and your hands are bruised and beat up and sore, or your arms.
Or think about it like this. For those of us just in regular everyday life, you bang your elbow or your forearm on something, you got a bruise, you avoid getting it hit again. In baseball, you got to go right back out there and block a ball and get hit in the same spot over and over again. Well, it's a 4-pitch walk to Carrera, which is not what you want to do. You got to make that guy swing the bat. And Otero's probably just plumb out of gas, and so Terry Francona will go to the bullpen here. So Dan works an inning in 2/3 and leaves with a runner on and 1 out in the 8th. Tommy Hunter's coming on when we come back. Well, Monday we will. Alan Jensen will start our holiday telecast. Well, this is the wrong card. Tomorrow we'll be right back here at the Rogers Center in Toronto. It's a 12:30 Indians live start time. First pitch at 1 o'clock as we wrap up the road trip and the series against the Blue Jays. Tommy Hunter will face Devon Travis. He is 0 for 4 on the afternoon and 2 for 15 in the series. Then he lines one into center field, a base hit. Stopping at second is Carrera. And now the Blue Jays are threatening here in the bottom of the 8th with 2 on and 1 out. And Josh Donaldson is the batter with Encarnacion on deck.
Well, in his last at-bat, he picked on a sinker right there from Otero. And it didn't take long. It tied the game at 6. Now he's going to have an opportunity to give him a lead here with 1 out. And it was Hunter that in yesterday's ball game that drilled him up in the arm throughout the game.
He fights it off. Base hit center field. Carrera got a horrible break. They're going to wave him anyway. And the throw to the plate is in time. They got him. Are you kidding me? Naquin threw it on the fly all the way from center field. And home plate umpire DJ Rayburn says you're out. We'll see if Toronto wants to challenge.
I think they do, because I don't know if he touched his foot. Again, I thought I saw daylight there. He had to wait back, and that ball bounced high. It was a tremendous throw. And I mean, it's the back foot here. I don't know if he touched it. There's Jimenez to get it.
Oh, he sure did. He sure did touch it. It's just a matter of did he get it before the hand got the plate.
Well, they're showing replays. This is going to be a good one now. He had to wait, and you say he got a bad jump. He couldn't read it because I think Naquin was over there sort of decoying him. This may be a better angle.
I think he's out. You can see his leg move.
Here comes the play. Here comes the tag. This is going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
He's called out. So
yeah, he's out.
You know what? You're going to have to. It's going to be tough to overturn.
You can see his leg move because of the tag. I don't know what the folks here are cheering. I don't know what they're seeing that we're not.
Well, that's everybody sees it differently. That's how close it is. I mean, you're going to really have to slow it down. Did he tag him? Who knows? We say yes. They feel he missed him.
Maybe maybe they're saying that the tag didn't get him, but it sure looks like. Otherwise, his leg wouldn't move the way it moved if he missed him, would it have?
I don't know. I'm just going to wait and let them make the call. It's so close. I mean, so close. And you know what? It's a big call for the Indians, because then it takes that run off the board, and we still have a 6-6 game.
So they're saying they're challenging 2 things. One, a blocking. Did Jimenez illegally block the plate, and the tag as well? So holy mackerel, we got a lot going on this play. He has to give him a lane to slide.
Well, he's got a lane to slide.
The throw took him in.
He's got a place to slide. He was going after the throw there. He didn't block it. He had access to the plate.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking, you know, the throw, he's got to pick the throw and go up. He didn't block the plate.
He definitely tagged him. He definitely tagged that foot.
Well, then if he tagged him, then it should remain, you know, it should be the call stands if you feel he got him. I didn't see him tag him. This may take a while.
Well, now it's just a matter of
call in the game.
Well, you're not kidding, because they've either got the lead and then they only need 3 outs to win the game,
right?
Or it's still a tie game and there are 2 outs in the inning.
Right.
Wonder what's the timer on this baby?
It's a base hit no matter how you look at it.
Anybody got the stopwatch running here?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
This is one of the lengthier ones we've been involved with this year. John Hirschbeck is the crew chief on your left. DJ Rayburn, the home plate umpire that made your call on the right.
Here we go.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. How in the world can they? I want to know what in the world they see there that calls him safe.
Well, give Donaldson the RBI single. The play is overturned.
The tag is on the heel. He tags him on the heel. It's clear as day. What are we not seeing here? Took 3.5 minutes, and now Toronto has the lead.
That run will be charged to Otero.
Strike called. We still have heard no explanation as to what they saw that enabled them to overturn the call. That's all you want, is a basic, simple explanation. Especially when you overturn a play that changes the complete nature of this game. You got to be able to just come out right now and say, all right, here's what we saw, this is why we called it. Encarnacion, a 3-run homer in the first. He has singled, grounded out, popped up on the infield.
Yeah, and that was the first run that they scored without a home run.
So still no explanation on what they saw that enabled them to overturn the call.
Well, there was no blocking of the plate, that's for sure. He had a lane to slide into.
Runner goes, and the ball's in the dirt. Did he go? He did not go on the appeal. Chris Jimenez is saying he come on, he had to have gone around on that pitch, but John Hirschbeck says no.
They had a walking lead out there. Travis at second base, as you see on the check swing right there.
That's usually enough to get rung up.
That's what they were banking on for the second out, but the runners now move up and the infield has to come in, and you're probably going to put this guy on, I would think.
The 2-2 struck him out looking.
Wow, he came back and made a pitch right there.
2 down.
Wow, he hit the inside corner.
All right, here's one more look. This is an angle we haven't seen yet, and they have to be saying that he missed him. That's all. The only thing.
Yeah, that's what they are. They're saying he missed at the
well,
time.
no, they haven't said anything. We haven't heard anything.
Well, that's the only way they could overturn it, is because the home plate umpire called him out.
Well, they could have said he may have beaten it. They got the hand in before he got tagged, but again, who knows? We'll find out in the paper tomorrow. 2 down with runners at second and third, and Michael Saunders is the batter, who has 2 hits today with a walk and has struck out. And a good pitch by Tommy Hunter. Left field, that's trouble, and that is a killer. 2 more score for Toronto, and they lead at 9-6.
He had a little little swinging room here and just served it down the left field line. He got him. There was a fastball that was up. It was about mid-thigh and out over the outside part of the plate. So Saunders gets his 21st double, his 3rd hit of the game, and they have a 3-run inning here in the bottom of the 8th.
And now Russell Martin takes low and away, ball 1. Yeah, foul back. Way outside, 2 balls and a strike. Three and 1. Jam job rolled to 3rd. Ramirez throws him out. And that ends the inning. A video replay challenge by the Blue Jays gives them the lead. Well, here in the bottom of the, or in the top half of the 9th, it'll be Chris Jimenez leading off for the Indians. They're 3 outs away from seeing their win streak come to an end. First ball swinging against Osuna, popped it up, and Barney makes the play. Roberto Osuna looking for his 16th save of the year. We have just now learned that what they have said on the replay was that the runner, Ezequiel Carrera, touched home plate before he was tagged. That's the official explanation.
Well, at least they gave one now.
And a base hit for Rajai Davis, and he just hit for the cycle.
How about that? That was lost in that last inning, but he sure did.
He's the 8th Indians player in history to hit for the cycle. First since Travis Hafner back in '03, and a nice hand from the former Blue Jay faithful that used to cheer him here when he wore the Toronto uniform.
And he did it the reverse cycle. Home run, triple, double, now a single. Congratulations. That's something you don't see too often. Only the 8th time in Indians history, and he made it look easy right there.
Davis takes off, and the throw is not nearly in time. Too bad it's not still a one-run game.
Yeah, nice walking lead. He's going to take off and get himself into scoring position. Now they're going to come out and talk about their signals now with a man in scoring position.
By the way, Rajai Davis, his cycle coming on this the 2nd of July. Tony Horton also did it on July the 2nd back in 1970 at Baltimore. And according to the Indians media guide, only one cycle of the 8 was done at home. The other 7 were all on the road.
Here? What's going on now? Safer out, or was he off the base?
We'll be the last to know.
What are they going to review? Maybe when he slid into second, he came off the base. That's got to be what they're doing. I mean, he was in there easily. Now maybe his leg did come off the base, but he was in there safe. I mean, easily. Now, does he come off as the tag is still applied? Doesn't know. His feet are locked in right there. He's on the base. Got it, got it, got it. Now the foot's on it, and his foot's still on it. See, the legs laying over the base.
He's safe. Play on, boys. Jason Kipnis to the plate. He's 0 for 4. They need one more base runner to get the tying run to the dish. Kipnis with 3 strikeouts. Lined out the center his last time up. One ball, one strike. And a pop-up. Out goes Tulowitzki. 2 down. Well, Rajai Davis started the game off with a home run.
Coming on a 3-2 pitch, gave the Indians a 1-0 lead.
Next time up, he tripled into right field. And then after a ground out, he doubled to center field. And then he starts the 9th with a base hit to complete the reverse cycle. The 8th Indians player in franchise history the first since Travis Hafner in August of '03. And it's just odd that of the 8, 7 of them have been on the road. The only one that was at home was in 1933 by Earl Averill.
No kidding. That's only the second one, too. So the second one came at home, and the rest have been on the road, huh?
0-2 pitch. Bounced it in front of the plate. And the 1-2. High pop foul and out of play, and that'll give the Indians one more chance. If Ramirez could reach, Mike Napoli would be the tying run who waits on deck. Down low, 2-2. Osuna ready with the 2-2, and it's down and in, a full count.
Well, if Ramirez can get on, that brings the tying run to the plate.
And the payoff pitch is popped up foul to the seats and out of play. Well, the one thing about Jose Ramirez is he's a tough guy to strike out. Puts the ball in play, but he's got a pretty good eye too.
Yes,
the only thing is he'll expand his strike zone to get to a ball he can get to, but he won't chase a bad ball usually. Foul back.
I'll tell you what, he's thrown up some really good at bats today. Again, for the second time, he took a swing and the bat flies out of his hand, and Uncle Nap brings it back to him. See, there goes the bat. It takes off, flies out of that left hand.
Well, that tells me he's not squeezing the sawdust out of it, right?
No, he is not. Get on base. Let's see it. Make him work.
And the payoff is tapped back to the mound. Osuna ends the Indians' win streak at 14. It took a video replay challenge to stop the Indians' win streak today here in Toronto, as the Blue Jays get off the schneid and win their first game of this 4-game set, with the finale coming tomorrow afternoon. This one was a weird ball game from the get-go, in that it was a bullpen game for the Indians after the 19-inning affair yesterday, but this will still stick in their craw a little bit because of the way it ended.
I got to tell you one thing, though. You got to be proud of the way they played today.
No doubt.
When you walk out there and Zach McAllister started, he didn't have it. He walked and gave up one hit.